I'm not exactly sure how this is going to turn out. Gosh, it's hard to see here. I'm in my front yard, and I came outside. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I just got home. I've had an incredibly long, frustrating, traumatic day. I've spent most of the day in the truck. I've spent most of the day going back and forth between Carrollton and Austintown, which is just west of East Palestine, in fact. So that is to the north. That is Salem, from where I'm sitting. And that monstrosity, that is East Palestine, which is 27 miles away from my house. And you want to know why it looks like that? All of those black clouds, that's fumes. That's noxious clouds from the burn. And the light is actually from where they're still dealing with a disaster cleanup. And so I'm really angry right now because I have spent the past several days now going back and forth to help friends of mine, and I've been trying to keep my own animals safe. We got a boon yesterday because we had a 70 degrees day that was very sunny. Right now it's 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday in February, and it's actually around 65 degrees, which is unheard of. And yesterday we got up to 75, and we had beautiful sunny skies. And the reason we had beautiful sunny skies is because we had 30-mile-an-hour winds yesterday, which had the great effect of blowing all that shit off. Right now, we've got 6 to 7 mile an hour winds. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I'm sitting right in front of my woods, so it sounds more forceful than it actually is. But I'm glad that the wind is blowing because it's dispersing those chemical clouds. And it's not over. Friends of mine have lost a lot of livestock. Today I helped a friend of mine who lost 160 breeding animals in their French Alpine milking herd, and they lost more than 200 of their chickens. And we evacuated what we could, and then we ended up carrying the rest of them to a burn pit to dispose of them safely. This isn't just people's livelihood. This is the thing that bothers me the most about the vegan activist bullshit, is that farmers love their animals. We care for them. We nurture them. We're out in the barns. Like literally, it's after 11 at night and I have to be up in 4 or 5 hours so that I can take care of my animals, so that I can make sure that they're safe and that they're healthy and that they're well fed and that they have fresh paddock and that, nobody went lame during the night. Nobody stepped in a hole. That I don't have any early calves, that I don't have any injuries from predators. I actually give a shit about my livestock, and so does every other farmer that I know. And I want you to pay close attention to what I'm going to tell you. This train derailment was not an accident. This was sabotage. We all know it. There are 1,500 derailments every year in the United States. 1,500. If you get time, I want you to go over to the Breaking Points channel and scroll down 5 or 6 videos, and I want you to listen to what Crystal Ball has to say, because she's actually from East Liverpool. Listen to what she has to say about the last 3 administrations and the regulations regarding trains. And under Mayor Pete right now at the Department of Transportation, they're relaxing braking rules for trains again. This is no accident. I want you to hear very clearly, twice as many rail cars than what has been reported were carrying these noxious, devastatingly poisonous chemicals, and they were all destroyed when this train derailed. All of this has contaminated the Ohio River. All of it has contaminated my area. Those clouds right there, the black clouds, that shit is coming over my farm. Even though that right there is northeast of where I live, where I work, where my family is, the fact of the matter is that for the past week, we've been living under blue-black clouds, except for a couple of days, like yesterday, when we had clear sunny skies, and the only reason we had clear sunny skies is because we had high winds. That right there, that's a mess. That is an ecological disaster over there. That is a crime against humanity that the EPA has actually had a hand in carrying out. And even worse was the fact that right after it happened and the air around my farm started smelling like burning spearmint and noxious gas, well, what happened? We had a USDA extension worker show up at our house to tell us that there were no worries. I didn't even know that there was a derailment yet because I hadn't heard the news. Actually, most of my neighbors hadn't heard the news either because nobody said shit on the radio. Nobody said shit on local television. I don't even own a television, so it doesn't matter. But nobody said anything to us. We were completely in the dark until 2 days after the fact. And the way we found out, of course, was Facebook. Or you had the extension officer showing up at your place to tell you that, oh, those strange smells, that doesn't have anything to do with derailment. Don't worry about it. Just go on with business as usual. Well, you can't go on with business as usual when your neighbors and the people in your region are suffering and livestock is dropping dead left and right because vinyl chloride, when it hits the atmosphere, it becomes a noxious gas that suffocates people. It suffocates animals. It's actually used as a wartime chemical. Isn't that lovely? And that's what we're dealing with right now. So I want you to listen very carefully. J.D. Garland at Garland Farms is right about the WEF. These authoritarian wingnuts and their whole climate change bullshit, that narrative is just that. It is total bullshit. And you should remember this from 8th grade geology class. All weather on the face of the earth is dominated by solar weather. And I want you to hear some things that you probably haven't heard before, or at least you don't remember that you've heard. This past week, the Earth's core stopped spinning, and it's getting ready to make a reversal. This past week, while China was unleashing thousands of balloons that, oh, by the way, just north of here at Lake Huron, we had Air Force and Army National Guard fighter jets from Wisconsin, from Pittsburgh, and from Oklahoma. These assholes took $2 million worth of Sidewinder missiles to take down a $50,000 weather balloon. What China is doing right now is absolutely brilliant. Devious, yes. Evil, yes. But brilliant. This is an act of war. And nobody's telling you about it. Why is this happening? Think deeply about this. What's going on with the planet has nothing to do with climate change. Our weather is controlled by solar weather. What happens on the sun, what happens in the cycles on the sun, whether it's the sunspot cycle, which we're actually right in the middle of a sunspot cycle right now, is directly impacted by that. Our electromagnetic field on this earth is failing, and it's failing fast. Our north and south poles are in the middle of a polar excursion. This has nothing to do with man-made pollution. It's not possible for mankind to do to the climate what the sun is doing. We're on a 60,000 year cycle. We're literally 20 years away from the 60,000 year mark from the last time this happened. And it happens around every 60,000 years. The earth resets itself according to what happens on the sun. The sun right now is in a very active, and I'm literally sitting underneath a power line and there's lightning in the sky because of this shit. But this is the deal. It's not going to rain tonight. I have no possibility of rain. But what I do have is I have all of this lightning around me. Why? Because our electromagnetic field is failing and lightning is becoming more and more active. The global elites know about this shit. They do. NASA knows about it. All of the world's climatologists, or whatever they want to call themselves, they know about it. The geophysicists, they all know about it. My brother, who works for a nuclear laboratory, he knows about it. We talk about these things. And the fact of the matter is that we are headed for a global cataclysm, and you are being used to push a corporate agenda for the global elites to decide who survives and who doesn't. All of this crap about one world government, all of this nonsense about, the UN now passing this resolution to put cricket dust, ground up crickets, into flour products. You are being used. You are being led by your nose out of a healthy existence and into poverty and starvation. This is Holodomor 2.0, except in this case, it's not just Ukraine, it's global. And you are being distracted again and again and again. You're being distracted and you're being led down this primrose path where people are telling you, oh, if you would just do this, then your life would be so much better. If you'll just do that, your life will be so much better. And don't you want to go along with the status quo? Don't you want to be politically correct? Don't you want to give over your power to somebody you've never met who sounds like a fucking Bond villain? Doesn't that sound like a great plan for your life? You need to get out of the cities. You need to start learning how to raise your own food. You need to go back to what your grandparents did, because what they're planning for you is not good. You need to get away from city centers like that actually have the potential to kill you, because you are sitting in an area that is surrounded by what? It's surrounded by global commerce. It's surrounded by industry. And I know I sound like a crazy person, but here's the thing. I grew up in a rural economy. I returned to farming in 2015 to save my life. And I did that. And I have built a good business out of that rural life. I have aided my family. I have put myself in a position where I'm no longer afraid I'm going to die in the middle of the night and leave my family not understanding what the hell to do with all of this mess. You need to make yourself strong. You need to be self-sufficient. You need to stop depending on supermarkets for your food, because that's not food. Half the shit you find in a supermarket is not food. It's commercial retail product. It is not food. That's the shit that food could have eaten had it not been turned into chemical sludge. Everything that you thought you knew about your government is bullshit. 3 administrations made the rules and passed the laws and wrote the executive orders that led to that. 3 of them. 2 Democrats and a Republican. They don't give a shit about you. It has nothing to do with you. It's all business. It has to do with money. It has to do with corporations and stockholders and the global banks and the global elite. And yeah, I sound like a conspiracy theorist now, and I'm not. I don't think that this is a conspiracy. I think that this is literally laziness on the part of the general public. I think that we have allowed ourselves to be run over roughshod with this politically correct nonsense and all of this social engineering bullshit. And y'all don't want to stand on your own 2 feet and become totally responsible for yourselves. And what's going to happen? They're going to come in. They're going to raise you in smart cities. They're going to put you in little pods, like little anthills, because that's what a skyscraper actually is. That's what an apartment tenement is. It's a little anthill. It's a little bee box. And all the little drones and all the little worker ants, they sit in these stupid little pods. And the difference between you and the bees and you and the ants is that you're the only species on the face of the planet that actually pays for the privilege of being here. And what's really hilarious about it is that you are the top of the food chain. You're the apex predator. And you are allowing yourselves to be preyed upon by the global elite. What's happening here is a disaster. It's a crime against humanity. It's happening under your own nose, and you don't even know it. You need to wake up and pay attention and take control of your own lives, because big business is not on your side.